While Sarah Mound's son complained of nagging legs, her GP said her not to worry about. But it was one of the at first signs Alex had Parkinson's illness, a state normally related in the above 60s. Alex Mound was fair 8-year-old, while his mom at first mind down there might be things severely incorrect in him. Sarah noted he complained on his legs suffering for days following take portion in a pay class. She had already spotty how he drawn one leg while he was weary. I mind how wasn't law for a youthful kid, she says. She took Alex to her GP in Folkestone, who said her down there was anything to worry about on. But Alex advanced more than odd symptoms. He didn't wish to keep me, although he favored departure to high school. He as well became rather intrusive. He had to package loads of pairs of pants in his bag and we weren't permitted to keep the building out of them, Mound says. On else day Alex outdoor his dormitory box and shouted at the bird to close up. It was very odd and out of nature, so I went behind to the GP to see if he necessary to go and see a psychologist, but once again I was sacked. A few months after Sarah was speaking to her son while he abruptly bring down plane on his behind. He couldn't explanation which had happened. His script had degraded and Sarah's dad had as well noted Alex had a light tremor. He wondered if it might be Parkinson's, but the GP laughed at the concept. Alex was called to a regional pediatrician, who solved to consider him for seizure. Yet, the medicine done no distinction, and during months he was declining up to 28 times a day. He couldn't sit downward since he was so beaten, and would include to lie on his stomach, Mound says. He was eventually called to the Evelyn family's clinic in London. During a day the specialists down there undiagnosed Alex in youthful onset Parkinson's illness. A marrow scanning demonstration low levels of the chemistry dopamine affirmed it. For Sarah Mound it thick felt love declining into a dark opening, though she calmed her son they would transactions in everything happened. Several 120,000 human beings include Parkinson's in the UK, in the most undiagnosed above the age of 60. On 5% expertise symptoms up the age of 40, but he's really uncommon for human beings to be undiagnosed by the age of 20. Following view several household videos, doctors told Alex had shown signs of the state at the age of 3, but they could not explanation why he had advanced the illness. No one Mound nor Alex's dad had a household story of Parkinson's. Alex was put on the narcotic levodopa, that acted love missile gas. It was nice for receive him driving but it done him a bit maniacal. I had to conceal phones in the building as he stored inviting the police force fair to say to them, Mound says. She gave up learning as a suitability teacher to be Alex's caregiver. Down there are more than rather than 40 symptoms and these can involve vomit as the flesh struggles to trial meal in the innards. Parkinson's can as well influence a man's sentiment that may explanation Alex's shouting of. Frequently a man will sense they include got to grips in their state later a new sign will come and since it is so diverse, down there is not one treat for each sign. Areas of study show pledge involve stock cage treat and gene expression therapies, but more than job is necessary. We aware how human beings by 40 can frequently fight to get a diagnostic since youthful Parkinson's is so uncommon. Yet, Parkinson's can influence human beings of all ages. It is urgent how professionals see at the symptoms a man has, quite rather than manufacturing assumptions relying on their year, so human beings get the law diagnostic, at first period. By the period he was 12 he was generally with a invalid carriage. He found it difficult to be about his old high school friends, who could yet run on. He ultimately excited to a high school for family in specific as necessary, but found the training standard too cheap. Following a pair of year, Alex stopped responsible to his medicine so while he was 14 he underwent profound marrow incentive. In the order electrodes are implanted in the marrow, that supply top frequency incentive to aim areas. The surgical diminished his tremors and gave him behind his smiling, Mound says. He could do a lot more than love act his game console. Alex excited on to Else High School in Sevenoaks, that helping him research for his GCSEs, with a machine-speaking executive board. He wasn't capable to go on his formation, but yet enjoys training. He loves sciences and likes to capture up on several maths and British, Mound says. As Alex's state slow rejected, Mound began to sense she couldn't manage. I thick felt love I was fight Parkinson's on my own since at Alex's age he's so extraordinary, she says. I requested on prediction and was fair said to hold him as fit and wholesome as I could. I was depleted and morning up I necessary to upset. I was frequently reliant on my sibling to drag me behind upwards. Mound solved the top judgment, for her and Alex, would be for Alex to go to a thoroughness household downward the way. It tool I can be his mum once again, not fair his caregiver. We can act games and include entertainment, Mound says. Alex remnant completely implicated in household lifetime, visiting household barbecues and events love his sibling Becky's marriage. He had a beautiful period. It wouldn't include been the identical out of him, Mound says. Alex is fed via a pipe in his belly as he struggles in popping and he frequently finds it hard to sleeping, occasionally shouting of. He is necessary aid for largest things and has a shut ties in 2 workers at the household. His mom visits each some day and makes live video telephone call in among. Now 24, Alex doesn't wish to say in part on his state though he says loser the capacity to go was the hardest problem. Alex doesn't love to relieve his expertise. Same D quite attention on possessing fun times currently, that is a very nice way to constitute, Mound says. His interests now involve films love Harry Potter and TV shows love physician someone. He as well enjoys art. He can't very act his game console now but he likes to look me act it and spot out how I've lost incorrect. Mound says. Alex describes his mom as this top mum in the entire broad planet. They are hoping to go on feast to Wales the summer. Mound keeps a see out for any new medications how may easy her child's symptoms but says, we dwell every day as top we can. Photographic politeness of Sarah Mound a dad of Texas implemented down there were no topic parks wherever his incapable child could act. So he solved to construct a